Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion, and I have a slightly different setup, which is making my face look super duper blown out, but that's fine, who cares? You can still see me-ish. My camera is in a slightly different place because I took that monitor down. I'll be moving stuff around until I can get my monitor fixed. The one that has the backlight issue. That'll be fun. Anyway, I'm still getting my desktop set up, but as I am waiting, how are all of you? Every single one of you, how you doing? Where did my chat go just then? Did you close my chat window? That's kind of annoying. Phew. Docs. Chat says that it's still open. Don't lie to me. Oh man, I have lost my OBS chat. All right, let's turn it off and on again. Chat. Oh dear. Oh dear, I do not know where my... We're over here! Oh, yeah. I tried to put the camera closer to where chat is going to be showing up once I get it back. All that I did was change my main display over. Let me change my main display back. There's chat. Go over here for now. And then make you my main display. Still got chat. And move you to here. Yay! Cool, so I saw that there was a bunch of chatter in Discord with your stuff, Mojo. Mojo is saying, we did it. I have a proof of concept using auth. That is fantastic and wonderful news. Glad you're able to get that. Scoot you up. Right there. Man, why are you so blown out, camera? I'll see if I can do something about that. I said, who cares? And here I am trying to fix that. Hello? I know. There's just too much light coming from that direction. Awesome-ish. Okay, that'll do a little bit better. President Not Sure is here. Big Gamey was first. Master Red is here. And he asked Big Gamey, or were you? And Big Gamey's working and lurking. In my head I was, and that's all that matters, right? Absolutely. Indeed, perception is reality. Oh, gotta adjust my blanket skirt. The thing keeping my feet warm. Worm, W-O-R-M. Or W-Y-R-M. Or both. Okay. Am I settled? Am I good now? Can I make you this big so I can see a little better? Awesome. Awesome. So I am on my welcome screen because I am still getting stuff set up. I have a slightly different monitor arrangement. As I mentioned, one of my monitors has a backlight issue that I'm going to get diagnosed and fixed soon. I'm pretty sure I know, or I'm confident that it's a backlight issue, but what I don't know, Bob Ross, what I don't know is whether it is a capacitor or a resistor or the actual backlights themselves. I found some ways that I could test each of them, but I just don't feel confident doing that, so I'm just going to take it to a shop that'll do it. A local electronics shop. And that's not going to be until this weekend because work. Okay, you're good. I mean, hello everyone. And don't we all just love backlights? I mean, it's a cool technology, if that's what you're asking. You can go over here. If only Radio Shack was still around. Yeah. We do have a local electronics place nearby. I mean, we have like tons of local electronic places, but one that has pretty high ratings. I hope. They're not AI generated ratings. I read through them and they seemed okay. They seemed, at least to my eye, human-ish. I used to walk to Radio Shack down the street. It was great. We're getting a micro center next year in Charlotte, North Carolina? South Carolina? One of the Carolinas? North Carolina. First guess. Awesome. It's such a weird thing to know anything about geography. It's secretly just one Carolina. All right. I'm going to show my monitor, I hope. Let me just make sure that it's the right screen. It's not. Switch it over to this one. Click OK. And push this button. Hey, it's the right screen. Okay. What we've been working on stream is the redesign for our stream project, which you can find the project itself on GitHub. And that looks like this. Tilt you a little bit more. That looks like this at the moment. Where we have some information about how we came up with the project, what the solution architecture looks like, and do I not have a link? So I also have shared the Figma page as a read-only link. So there you go. If you are interested in following along in any of the stuff that I'm doing, you can go there. Your mouse will show up on screen, blah, 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 blah. But what we are doing for our approach, since I'm not a Figma expert, nor am I anywhere close to being as good at UI, UX design as I would want to be, I'm taking an intuitive approach at first, but I'm also watching a whole bunch of videos and suggestions on how to actually do design. Interesting. I wonder if I just pull them out of the frame, if it'll be fine. Yeah, stuff like that. So Mojo just shouted out a few important concepts: universal design, cognitive load theory. The thing that I learned about today was line spacing and character spacing and how that can help with reducing cognitive load. People that see large amounts of text find them to be intimidating. It's not just that too lazy to read, it's actually intimidating. And then because it seems intimidating, then they think that the concepts for what you're trying to describe, so let's say it's a product that you're trying to sell, they find to be not easily understood, which means that they will say, this is not right for my situation, and therefore they will discredit it. They'll say, this is not worth me to use. Yeah, so much psychology. Accessibility does not equal universal design. Yay, it's right. Hello, Diedrich. Glad you can make it. Saw you active in our Discord, hanging out with Mojo, having some really good discussions about the auth stuff that he is trying to work through. When I think of UX design, I think of terribly designed elevator buttons. Yeah. That's an interesting mesh you got going on. Currently trying to add line numbers and columns to AST tokens. I don't know what AST tokens are, but I'm assuming it has to do with your language. Demilang. Abstract syntax tree. And so President Usher is saying, like, there are labels that are round, but when you push them, nothing happens, and you see that the actual buttons are next to the labels. Aha. Diedrich says, hi dude. Yeah, me and Mojo seem to have the same problem at this stage. But, and then Bob Ross says, basically a tree of tokens, then that the program follows. Oh, then the program follows that tree. Cool. I know I can understand a little bit about that because I've done some source generation, and there's a syntax tree that comes with each compile step, or I don't know what it's actually called, but each inspection that you get as the compiler is trying to compile the code. So you get the syntax tree, you can traverse it yourself, you can modify it at that point in time, and then it gets compiled. You can even generate code while it's doing that. At last, source gen. Okay. Did I miss anyone? Did I miss anything? No. So far, no. Okay, so I'll keep talking about this. What we've done so far is we created a whole bunch of components. So this is that kind of intuitive approach that I was talking about, where I am creating a whole bunch of components. I kind of have some placeholder colors and styles and stuff, but these are not the final colors and styles. The thing that I would like to do is once I have all of my basic components, because that's the way that my brain works, I know what our Blazor app looks like. And I know how we've split up the different UI elements into components. Therefore, I can sketch them out that way first. Then we'll go through and apply some good design principles when we're sketching out the landing page, when we are doing the main data entry pages, the dialogues, everything. Diedrich says, well, I've been thinking of Jot doing its key switching, but doesn't seem too safe. What is key switching? I don't know what key switching is. So I know that you can get a Jot, and that Jot is typically signed by the issuing server. Key switching to me sounds like, let's say you're in a distributed app, or you are in a containerized app, and each of those containers is the signing source, even though typically I would assume you have one signing source for your authentication. But anyway, say each of them handles their own signing of your certificate, of your Jot. Then when you try to make a request, it goes to whatever resource is available, whichever container is available, and then that can't parse your token unless it has the same key to essentially decrypt it and verify. Or is it decrypt? I doubt. Like, again, I don't know the full process. This is just a little bit of guesswork, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But you send your Jot, and then it's able to use its own signing key to do its signature, verify that the signature that's in the auth token is the same signature that it generated. I can't figure out if there's a recommended way to create a login page for usernames and passwords. So a username and password login form, there is a recommended approach, and that's to have it server-side rendered. That's the main thing. So if you create a new MVC.NET 7, .NET 8, whatever, app, then you can actually, let's do it. So let's say you were sticking with MVC, even though you're not, and send it to my individual account manager. I think that's what IAM is. I can't remember. So here's our MVC application. Put it in local only. Identity and access manager. Yeah, sure. Pretty sure this is how I have it. Cool. Oh, it's just _local. That was close. And then we'll call this MVC or auth. And we tell it to create for individual accounts, which is going to give us our database migrations and scaffold, or not scaffold identity, but add the identity NuGet packages. But what you will see is areas, identity, pages. You don't see it here because you get it for free in program.cs. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and build while we look through this. We have add default identity, which also gives us the default UI, I believe. And so in order to see what that looks like, you can add scaffolded item, identity. It's been a little bit since I've done this. But yeah, okay, so there's a difference though. If you're using Azure AD B2C, then you're using the Microsoft account login page. They will, you direct the browser to that third party. It's going to be third party to your app, but to that third party login, which is Microsoft accounts. Then you feed that your redirect URL to your OIDC handle or whatever authentication method you're using. So here's login. We'll just do login only because too lazy. Yeah, it allows for credentials, but so I haven't used it. But from what I have seen is if you click on your login button and you're using B2C, it opens up to the Microsoft account login. Like what would happen if I were to try to access, if I were to go here, and if I were to go to account settings, and where was the button that said re-enter? Re-enter your credentials. Which it was fine. It's like, okay, I got it. But if I were to like add a new Microsoft account, then I get this window here. And then I could, if I wanted to, use username and password. So email address, password. So this here is provided by Microsoft. But when you launch this, you have a redirect URL that after you sign in, it sends the response back to your redirect. Yeah, and you can customize the page and stuff. Right. But if it was like username and password that you're authenticating to your own identity store, then that would be the case where you are building up the UI on the server, having that render. All of your actions are happening on the server. Aside from you click the login button, you send your username and password and anti-forgery token and all of that stuff as a post body. Diedrich says, am I the only one not using Docker? Doubtful. I have seen a lot of resources when I was starting to try to figure out whether to, or how to use containers, is what I was trying to say. And a lot of them just try to say, here's how to use containers, not necessarily Docker specific. To answer your question, Mojo, this does allow you to set up to use third-party, but if you're going to use external third-party stuff, then you have to click on, or first you have to implement, pull in the NuGet package for that. So let's say it's the Bookface or Twitter X or Microsoft or whatever else, LinkedIn. You'll get a button for each of those on top of your local username and password sign in. So in essence, clicking on one of these buttons does the open up a new tab or open up a new window for that credential provider with a redirect back to your app after those credentials have already finished. After they have been authenticated. So Diedrich said, well, I think I will be skipping Docker and going with some Node stuff to add a buffer to WordPress. Bob Ross said, I only use Docker for my languages website. And then Mojo said, it's helpful sending ready to run code to my colleagues, ready to run containers. That's cool. Oh my gosh, I keep stepping on my blanket and it's falling. Don't fall. What did I do with multi-stream? Cool. All right. And then Mojo says, I think my confusion has essentially been that it seems recommended that authentication be handled outside of the app. True. Including the login page itself. So what we would want to do as cutting edge developers is, let's create a new project. That is our Blazor WebAssembly project. So this is not the .NET 8 version. And we're going to call this Blazor WasmNet 7 auth. We're going to do individual accounts, ASP.NET Core hosted. I am interested to see what happens when we don't have ASP.NET Core hosted. But first, we're going to start with this. So here's our auth server. You'll see the same areas identity pages. So instead of having a form, either in shared or in pages, that is for your login, here's my username, here's my password, send it to the server, is on the server, on the API server, they have the authentication form and UI. So we would do the same thing, right click, add. Well, I need to build first. Here we go. Right click, add, new scaffolded item, identity. And you can see that it's also using Duende by default in .NET 7. I don't know how to explain it. I'll know Friday. I have a meeting though, so let's get back on UX. We will, certainly. but it's exactly the same server-side UI that you would get if you did an MVC app or Blazor server app even, except that the client side will use Duende Identity Server. Using Duende and not what? So that's a hard one. The thing that happened is with new .NET Blazor stuff, they're like, well, we want a good way to do authentication. Let's put authentication in the template. And so they used Identity Server. And after a while, the creators of Identity Server were like, all right, this is getting hard to maintain. It's taking a lot of time. If we're going to keep supporting this, we need to actually change it to a model that we can be supported by as well. So let's make a freemium version where if you make over X amount of money per year, or you have so many employees, or you have so many connected clients, then you need to start paying for using Duende Identity Server. So I've only ever used Identity Server since I've been using it from the beginning. The alternatives to that, I don't know what they are. We started looking at them last week Wednesday for what .NET 8 is using for its authentication stuff, but I don't think they're doing any Blazor WASM authentication stuff. Everything is server. So I don't exactly know what the alternatives are. However, reading through chat, Mojo is saying keycloak.org and has CIAM pointing to it. But yeah, thanks so much for the lurk. OpenID Dict. Yeah, so I have heard of this one. And it's essentially like, it's roll your own for the most part. Like, is there really any kind of built-in authentication flow that you can just say, in the way that we have a new .NET project, let me scaffold that for you, is what it says to us. So on the client side, here is Blazor.add HTTP message handler, which is one of the main things that will get us our authentication token information. And then we have add API authorization, which is the thing that when we get our token, here's how you can parse it. Here's how you can get integrated usage in your app using the authorize attribute, for example, to verify, to validate that the token that was provided does meet whatever criteria you have for being able to access a resource. And then on the server side, this is where you get the thing that will automatically set up if you're requesting authentication from a client, then we'll give you back a JOT. And it'll be formatted in a way that your app will understand it. So the whole entire authenticating the user, creating a token, signing it, sending it back to the client using browser cookies, session storage, local storage, whatever mechanism to keep the token and then use it throughout the app. You're kind of setting all of that up on your own, unless they do have a way that gives that to you using this or some other library. But that's what I found to be the most difficult part of doing authentication in a Blazor WebAssembly app, is just the whole, how do I generate a signed token that can be validated by my application and then by my API server. If it's multiple API servers, then they should all be able to, like if it's containerized, for example, then they should all be able to say, this is an authenticated user. They are authorized to receive this resource, or to access this resource. So those kinds of things. Keycloak is supposed to be another one, but I haven't used it. Yeah. But anyway, hi Abby Knight. Thank you so much for your question and the follow-ups that you have on there. Very helpful, very insightful. I definitely do want to look more into what .NET 8 is using for authentication. And we will. We absolutely will. Diedrich said, not too long ago, I didn't study design patterns, so I'm just winging it. Me too. Mojo said, just before that, Mojo said to Diedrich, don't make me think. Very basic intro to UX. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, positively. Seems like I have a ton of reading to do on UI UX. I'm still doing a lot of studying. How much does an SSL cert help your app? Help your app? I mean, it allows it to be accessed securely in the web. So if you don't have an SSL cert, a valid signed SSL cert, or a SSL, yeah, TLS, a valid signed cert, then you won't be able to use HTTPS, which means that communication from your app will not be encrypted. So the header, the body, and all of the other things that need to be protected for your communication. You can't verify that the website that you're sending the information to is the one that should be receiving it. Just so very much. That's the wrong browser. Why are you there? It used to be the browser that I'm using for everything. So in essence, if you want to have a modern website that is available to the public, HTTP isn't going to cut it, and therefore you need an SSL cert. If you're going to plan on using your API for auth, absolutely. If you're just making your API open to everyone, thank you so much for the follow, Naughty. If you're just going to have your API open to the public, I mean, it would be more trusted if it was HTTPS. Like, if you want it to be used, make it HTTPS. But it's optional if you don't have any kind of security keys that would need to be passed back and forth. For example, an authorization header that says, I'm allowed to access this API. Because otherwise, someone could just listen to your internet traffic, however they get to it, grab one of your requests, grab your token from that request, and use it themselves. I see. So Diedrich said, my course did not cover the hosting aspects, so it's fresh ground for me. Yeah, like so many things, so many tutorials that I took when I was first trying to do all of the auth setup for the Blazor WASM template. They were just like, in order to test it, make sure to use HTTP. That way you don't have to worry about this whole self-signed certificate mess. And issues that come with self-signed certificates and identity server. And but yeah, okay. I want to avoid the common threats like session hijacking and so on. Don't want to be Google blacklisted. True. Yeah, and the easiest way is to get a valid SSL. For my site, you can see a valid certificate that I get for free because I'm using Elastic Beanstalk for my application. And in fact, it's not necessarily the Elastic Beanstalk, I don't think. I think you have to have an application or whatever the default load balancer is on top of that. But because I'm hosting on Amazon, I get free SSL, free certificates. I'll say it that way. And of course, my site is nowhere near complete. It's barely started, so not too many comments on that yet. One day though, one day. So we are still doing whatever this is called, UI design. And hello, Fuel Schnabel. Foolish Schnabel. I don't know. Fuel. Hello, Fuel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. There goes my hands in my hair. I wonder how many times I've already done that during the stream. Yeah. So anyway, in the last stream that we worked on UI, I should say, we finished up setting up not a problem. I hope that I am explaining correctly. Definitely still pursue your own research. Don't take what I say verbatim unless it's something that I am confident in. Here, I just have from what my experience is and from what I understand of it, but I'm not super duper confident. So validate. And Bob Ross says, my language is coming together. Awesome. Super duper cool. I learned a new keyboard shortcut in Figma, which is if you have something selected, you can hold the Alt key and see how far it is from other elements that you hover over. I could have used that not too long ago. It's from one of the videos that I'm currently watching on how to get good at Figma. And in case you are wondering, it is this. It doesn't feel very structured, even though the dude says it is kind of structured. But yeah, I'm watching this. I'm watching a bunch of other videos, of course, and figuring out how to use Figma better, how to do design better, getting tips and tricks, and it'll be good. We'll have a really, really good something or other. But for now, we created card component. Card component now, if we used it, we can now use all of these properties over here to change the various properties in this. It's flat. We don't have a header, do have a header. Don't have a dismiss button, do have a dismiss button. Change the footer to be text. Confirm and cancel. Ooh, confirm and cancel. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that to happen. But anyway, we'll fix whatever issues we need to fix. But for now, I need to change these property names. I just need to remember what all of them are. What were you supposed to be? I really don't remember what this first property was supposed to be. That's the problem with creating the components and then waiting until you combine them as variants to name the properties. One of the many problems, I should say. So we'll call this theme, color theme. We'll call this style. This one was header. This one was footer style. And this one is show dismiss button. Okay, so that should fix it so that we have all of the properties. What was this base supposed to be? Don't remember. But you know what? We got there is a history. My channel? How do I get to my channel? Did they change that? Because it used to be a button that says your channel or something. Anyway, let's go back to Wednesday. Are those buttons? Those are still buttons. Can we get back to the card component, please? Oh yeah, look, it's Bob Ross's language site. Button. Are we sure this is Wednesday's stream? Wow. I didn't even touch the card component. So how did I create... What? What? Who did... So does that mean Fridays? This is the one we just looked at, right? No, this is... I looked at Mondays. Okay, my bag. I went too far back. Okay, so these are the buttons completed. Here is our card. Can you remind me, please? And I'll face. Did you automatically create a transcript for me by chance? Guys, can we search? Base. Stop saying shut up. Remembered will name you app. Window background app, window no base. Base is the future. That's not helpful, sir. The reason that I wanted to turn that into a component, which why don't you have right, frame selection, which is Control G. I like how it's Control G. Control Alt G, Control Shift G, Control Alt. Why didn't that work for me? Anyway, frame. Okay, so probably not this stream. Man, that's awesome that it auto-transcribed for me. Oh man, where did we first start creating the card components? Music. Oh, music. I sure do say database a lot. Ah, this was a community stream. Why didn't I realize that? 190 was a community day. How about you? I'm just gonna open you in a new tab. This is how I do memory recall. Perfect recall. Even in my previous streams. Okay, card base. Tell me about this. Oh. Interesting. So I think this kid, there he goes again. Base is the future. He said that last time. Base header equals. Okay, so for now I'm just going to call it type. But I think what I was trying to get at with base was we're going to have a base card that has this structure. Then we're going to have a specifically designed card that's like a, oh my gosh, this is so hard to think about. An info card, let's say. So let's use this one and create a variant using that. How do I do that? Where's my create variant button? Don't these things usually have a create variant button? Dang it. There we go. Okay, so create variant button. We're going to set it up so that it looks like these. We're going to tell its type to be an info card. Info cards are going to have a header, a body, an action button. Yeah, if I'm doing this, then why? Why would I even create a separate one of these? Because it's essentially this. This is my info button. So I really don't want this property. Okay. Hi, Deflux. Abby says, oh, they're adding a new identity UI for Blazor in .NET 8. In case anyone was curious, here is the link. Yeah, so we did start looking at it last Friday, I believe. Maybe 2 Fridays ago. And I want to pick it apart, but I still didn't see anything that is specific to WebAssembly. WebAssembly client only kind of thing. But yeah, this is definitely a really good resource. Thank you for providing that. Post is from 3 days ago. So we weren't looking at this article. We were looking at loading. We were looking at Net 8 Wasm Auth, which I think was from, oh gosh, I need to open it in preview. But anyway, I think it was from creating a new Blazor web app, selecting WebAssembly and server, or no, this one was just selecting WebAssembly from the dropdown and individual accounts. And so it still scaffolded a server backend that has the identity stuff. And of course the database and everything else. The one that I didn't find, and again I'd have to load Visual Studio Preview, is a new Blazor WebAssembly, new project, Blazor WebAssembly app where you could select individual accounts. Yeah, so you got to make sure you are on Visual Studio Preview, which I will open. I don't have a shortcut to it on my bar. Pin. I can't see, my water bottles are in the way. Yep. At least until .NET Conf this month. Do we know when? .NET Conf. .NET. Yeah, cool. November 4th through the 16th. So we should 14th. Thank you. Thank you, Deflux. Oh man, I missed your comment, Deflux. Sorry. Found out recently that Uno platform has like an import Figma thing. So does Visual Studio Code. But yes, so we should expect to see .NET 8 GA happen on or around the 14th. I don't know if it's for Blazor. It just has a way for you to import Figma designs. I haven't used it, so I don't know. JavaScript uses infinity, but dividing something by 0 should return nothing, right? Not necessarily. It could throw an error. Most things throw exceptions that say cannot divide by 0, but it could say approaches infinity, but it could also approach negative infinity, depending on what side you're approaching from. Are you paying for the service? No, I am not paying for Figma. I'm using the free, and you can tell that because I only get 4 pages. Nope, 3 pages. Maybe one day I'll switch to the paid version, but right now I don't need to. Yeah. I mean, I don't know JavaScript, so President Not Sure says I thought divide by 0 would return undefined if it doesn't throw an exception. The calculate, oh, too many things happening. Create a new repository, create a new project. So real quick for Abby, here is the Blazor web app template. And then this is where you can select the authentication type and everything. And this again, .NET 8 preview in Visual Studio Preview. However, if the project type that you choose is the Blazor WebAssembly standalone, then you do not get the option for nice. So that wasn't there the last time I looked, and I have proof. I do have proof that that wasn't there before. But you did not have the option to choose individual accounts. So now I'm really interested in what they decided to choose for that, but I probably won't look at that until Friday. For now, I would like to see if we can eventually get somewhere in this design. Bob Ross says, might make an exception that could be caught in try-catch statements, so exceptions can be avoided, but that's for the future. Yeah, like the main thing is, like if you know that there is a thing that might throw an exception, typically when you write code, write things to avoid throwing an exception. So instead you can say here is a message that you get back, but in some cases a method doesn't return text or something that indicates you did something wrong at runtime, so throwing an exception is the only way to let the calling method know you did something wrong. So when you're writing a language that you're creating the base functionality for operations and operators, then yeah, throwing an exception does seem reasonable to do. But when you're developing the actual application using the language, then you just want to avoid needing to throw an exception to begin with. So, typically people make errors when trying to divide. Therefore, instead of throwing an exception when you divide by 0, you have some clean way of handling it. That kind of thing. Okay. So we have cards. I want to get rid of base because I really don't think that I'm going to change type. So is there an easy way to do that with Figma? I'm going to guess we should just be able to remove type equals base, comma, space. Replace it with nothing, rename all those, and therefore we no longer have the property. That worked. Okay, so no idea what I was thinking of with base. I'm sure if I went back and watched the video where we started the card, I would know. Can't remember. Welcome back, Mojo. So instead I got rid of that property, and now we have our card component that we can style later. We have 2 backgrounds for the card component. One that's light, one that's dark. We can eventually add another one that's maybe our boo theme. And that will have a beautiful blue background color for our card. And then in that case, we can have another, oh man. Like, here's one thing that I don't know. Is there a way for me to create a link from the property in this variant to the property in this instance? So I could now choose boo from my instance that's used up here, but that doesn't update the actual property that's being used in color theme here. And that way I don't have to create as many variants. But what I would essentially do is, yeah, I would create an entire another set of these cards with the correct coloring for the background. And maybe I'm just not thinking about it correctly, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So let's call cards done. Let's call buttons done. The next component that I'll probably want is, let's call hero section done. So hero, dark light, with different mask opacities. I could probably change the background itself. We can fix the text. I still don't like it. But looking back at our original, what the app currently looks like, the other things that I can think of are menus, some icons. Yeah, so let's do some icons to make it easy to place an icon and then pick the size kind of thing. I may as well grab them while we're here. So here's a, oh my goodness. Are you locked? You're locked, aren't you? No. Excuse me, who are you? Line item. Transaction detail? Night. Oh, grid must be this thing at the bottom. Tab control is where I need to be. Tab content. Line items list. Gotcha. Got him. I have no idea what I'm doing here, but that's fine. We got this thing, which is our trash can. That's not helpful. I need you on a dark background. Frame. Trash can. And I think this is just a placeholder. There was a color question? So many classes and folders. Where? I was talking about setting a theme background color. Oh, okay. So that one was, here I have a dark and a light, which I said completely backwards. A light and a dark for my card background. This is its own component. A card background is its own component. My cards themselves use an instance of that card background. And I have a theme property for my card that I would like to say, if you select, or the values for this dropdown come from the different variants that I have in this one. So if I created a new one called Boo, which if you don't know what Boo is, it's these colors here. All of my Boos, and my Gwaines, and my Slates, and my Rays, and my Oranges, all of them. Anyway, these are my Boos. These aren't really Gwaine, but that's fine. This probably needs a W in there anyway. Go, better. So my Boo background would be this color, let's say. So I added a new variant for my card. It's my Boo. And the actual color will look like this. And so essentially what I'm wanting to do is now say I have my dark colors, and from my dark colors you can choose overall dark, which is this one. You can choose Boo, you can choose Ray, you can choose Gwaine. Kind of. For my buttons I am. So the thing that I found is trying to think about Figma style setting versus the way you would create your CSS style definition sheet, essentially. So your colon root with your variables for primary, secondary, they don't quite match up. So like typically you have a primary, secondary, warning, success, danger, info. You have those named colors throughout your entire app. However, in Figma, you are doing primary button color, secondary button color, even though they're using pretty much the same color you would use for secondary. I don't know, man. I could use help. Do you have suggestions? Because like my primary color is not my primary text color. My primary color is my primary button color that looks different than my Textus's. My Textus's color would be white. On dark, of course. And then on light, my primary color would be black or some dark color. You were thinking there was a theme switcher. No. Essentially, what I need to do is if I want to define specific themes, I need to create a set of components for that theme. So for example, if I wanted to create a full blue theme, then I would have my blue background here, and then I would create a card of each of these types that conform to my blue hues. Or whatever colors I use for my blue theme. I could use something like this to define what my actual themes are. So yes-ish is my answer. It's my final answer. There might be a plugin. I would love if you could point me to one. I don't know that I'm smart enough, oh my goodness, to have hiccups to find it myself. Mostly because I haven't really been looking into finding plugins to use, but I would definitely benefit from using them. Dang it. Whoa there. What did I just push? I pushed the magic button. Yeah. Figma plugins are lifesavers. Now I think I need to build 4 themes. It's just so much easier to me. Thank you so much for the follow. It's so much easier for me to do all of this in CSS. It's like, to me, it's very intuitive because you have all of your base theme, what you want your site to look like in general, as variables. Can I show that? Then you, dang it, scale. Oh, that's not gonna work then, is it? Well, ooh. Oh, that worked. Okay, good. Okay, so let me show the way that I think about theming when I write code. Maybe. Are you gonna open? Like ever? Like, oh my gosh. Close. You there. Okay. Blazor UI. Sass. Root. So here are my root variables for my base theme. And they look like this. And if I want to add a theme, then I essentially copy my root theme and then override whatever colors and stuff I want to override as my new class for that theme. Beamer. Maybe this would turn into a Figma plugin developer channel. But yes, Bob Ross has some error message handling. Awesome. And hello, Disco. All right, so now I think I need to build 4 themes rather than build custom stuff, to be honest. Oh, I don't know. Again, I'm fledgling Figma user, so my best answer is maybe. Of course you're gonna do it that way. I want 24. Why are you doing only odd numbers? Maybe if I did 24 horizontally. That doesn't make sense. No, I want 24 in height specifically. Please. Why are you skipping over 24? So dumb. Oh, that's why. Because I'm resizing the wrong thing. Constrain. 24. There we go. That is terrible. That did not do. Oh, help. Okay. Can I click the text below? No. Like, I need an actual trash can is what the deal is. That was just a placeholder. I don't know why I did that, but it was there. Let's go to the actual app. Now that I have the app loaded here, I'll just get the actual SVGs that I'm using. So I have an icon picker. I think I have an icon picker. Fine. I miss you, Blazor. I'll be back soon. Here's my SVG for my trash can. So that one is 22 by 24. Can I resize? All right, so you are kind of locked. Don't scale. Oh, I should have just hit scale. I need you to cooperate. Miss, I just want to talk. Okay, top left. 22.4 by 22. Done. Okay, now you can scale all you want so that when I resize this thingy, the whole thing scales. When I resize this thingy, the whole thing scales. That's what I want. And so we're going to start off with a 16 by 16. We're going to start off with a 16 by whatever you are scaled. Then we're going to have a duplicate of 24 by 24, whatever you are scaled. Then we're going to have a duplicate of whatever you are 64. Not 64, 48. And then 64. Although I don't think that we're going to need a trash can that big. But just in case, We'll have 4 options per icon. All right. Did I miss anything? I missed stuff. Oh, here's and trash can. Yes. Yes. This will be my trash can icon. This one specifically. I always need a bigger trash can. I don't know, 16 I think is my default font size. We can actually find out because I did write that down. Where did I write that down? Body default. Oh, I should put the numbers next to them. Dang it. Body default is 16. Do I think I'll need something smaller than this? I doubt it. I could always just resize manually, but these will be my... Do I even need more than one? They're SVGs, and so they'll scale fine. It would only be if I was going to change like the thickness, for example, or something about it that I would want it at different sizes. So we'll get to that. One thing that I've been wanting to do with my icon picker is to actually have like a base icon, and then inside of here we can provide a parameter that is public icon size, where icon size would be an enum that's like small, medium, large, sure, why not? And then these would equate to 1 rem, 2 rem, 3 rem. Looks more like an oven than a trash can. Truth. So true. I mean, isn't that where you cook your food? It says he's listening only. How can you tell? That's funny. And a Wi-Fi link on the icon to confuse users. All right, anyway, I was trying to grab my next SVG that we're using in the app, and it's not an SVG, it's just a Unicode character. Water. How dare you be empty? Dang it. I'm gonna cheat, and we're just gonna use the magic shape. Oh, there isn't already a check mark shape. I don't want to have to figure out how to do this. And then we grab our pen tool. Oh wait. First we need to go into edit mode. Then we grab our pen tool. Wrong. I'll figure out how it works eventually. Wrong. Still no. Did you two actually join? Because that would be nice. If you two actually joined, that would be helpful, beneficial. How do I rotate? You don't, you just move things around until it looks right. I would like it to be... What? That's not the actual size, that's the height position. So like the easiest way to do check marks in CSS is to make a box that has 2 edges, 2 borders, and then rotate it 45 degrees. select you. What's the difference between you and you? 9. What's the difference between you and you? 6.5. 11. 14. Yeah, 14 should be good. And so if we make it thicker, it's stylized, okay? It's stylized. No, I need to do this the right way. Do a little geometry. True. Reminds me of the Windows 95 trash can. I don't remember where I got this one, or I know where I got it, which was Iconify. And then I push this button, and then I search for trash can. But I don't remember which library it came from. Although none of these look like that one. So I really don't know where I got it from. But anyway, let's make ourselves a good check mark. Like a for real good one. For real, for real. I would like to only go horizontally across. Can we do that? Okay, this bottom point I would like to have rounded very slightly. Can we make another? Yeah, I didn't think that would have an effect. Ugh. Yeah. I think I'd like to draw it as a polygon instead of a line. Beautiful. It's perfect. Search for oven. Oven. No, I did not get it from oven. Pull out that Pythagorean theorem. I would rather have downloaded an SVG to use. True. True. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go from here. Trash. Let's pick you as our trash can. Actually, I think I was trying to remake this one on my own. Who is BI? Bootstrap. So let's say that we had a 16 by 16 trash can by default. We will copy. But I really I don't know, I want the experience of creating a polygon check mark as well. That is the right size, but it's like, how do I see the sizing itself? Like, the only thing that I know is doing it this way. So I need to go up 1 for 16, because I do want it 16 tall. Then I can do something like that. No, don't move. Stay. And then I still want this thing to be rounded. Not all of them. I want this specific point to be rounded. Thank you. Okay, so then we can move you up here. Which way do check marks normally face? Like I said, it's stylized, okay? Gosh, give me a break. I kid. Anyway, Thindle's here. Hello, Thindle. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Nice little shout out for Tyndall. If you're not already following him, he is also a .NET developer. He works on lots of fun stuff, migrating apps from legacy stuff to new stuff, and creator of Nodocs, which if you've never seen Nodocs before, if you happen to be someone that presents often or streams, for example, and you do .NET development, you use Visual Studio, and you want to protect your secrets, I recommend downloading the Nodocs extension, Visual Studio, written by Thindle. And what that'll do is whenever you have a JSON or XML file, it'll hide all of your values. And if you have stuff commented out, it'll hide the comments as well. If you have a malformed JSON, it'll just default to masking the whole thing. So I like it. I love it. I enjoy using it. All right, commercial over. Waiting for my promosum, however it's pronounced. Anyway. So a bit AFK listening to Galloway, etc. in the Visual Studio stream. Please do. Absolutely. When I learned how to use the pen tool in Illustrator, I felt like a 10 times version of myself. Yeah. Pen tool is great. It's just I didn't want to create that specific object as a line with a stroke. Instead, I decided to make it a polygon with a fill. Because I have had issues with only using a stroke for my SVGs, where it's a line with a width, and then each of the vertexes have their own roundedness or cap. Used a Microsoft your trash can. Oh, Mojo. Just had to normalize the volumes. Aren't all the sizes just relative if you're creating an SVG? Except for, I mean, they are. Nike copyright strike incoming. Did that really look like the Nike logo? I did not intend for that. That really does. Ugh, not on purpose. No, it's different enough. They don't have a squared off top and top edges, so no. Anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'll tell you in a second, Thindle. So the thing about using SVGs is at different sizes, you may want different thicknesses. That's the gist of it. So if you have a larger icon, you can typically get away with using thicker fills, thicker areas that get filled. And then when you have smaller icons, you typically want to use thinner lines. And that doesn't happen when you just do a normal resize kind of thing. Instead, the whole picture gets bigger or smaller And like at this level here, I lose that entire gap at the top. So maybe I would want to consider changing the SVG itself so that it has a thinner horizontal line here. Move the cutout space a little bit lower, those kinds of things. Go for a Grim Reaper scythe. Then says random fun fact. Fun random fact. I've done changes to the Nike logo with Nike's permission. Cool. And then showed it to them. Use the rectangle tool, rotate 45, and then use masking to round them. True. Could do that. I'll just make it black for now. Did I end up making you... $16, good. 18, not good. I mean, I guess. I can make it... I kind of want it to be 16 though. What would happen if I moved you in 2? So that it is 16 by 16. And I might want to move it's recognizable as a check mark. That's all that really matters, right? No, I want to do this right. I so want to just give up on this. Like I don't like this. I think maybe then what happens if I make you less rounded? Ooh. Okay. I'm keeping that. So here would be an example. Oh, I'm trying to catch up in chat. So Fuel says, hello Thindle. I mean Yellow Thindle. Migrated everything to .NET 8 by now? Question man. And then Thindle's like, oh yes, 110% done. Got my questionnaire numbers now. 89% approval with my actual constructive comments. You apparently got really, really good reviews. So you already did your your presentations. And do you have a link to the wait, what are you asking about me not being able to see? Oh, yes, correct. I can't see it either. Yes. It would be cool if, but that would be a much harder thing to do. Like, it would be cool if you could add glyphs to maybe the text, and then those glyphs are the thing. No, because what happens if you scroll too far left or right? But those glyphs are the thing that the camera picks up and says, okay, I will mask those for the stream camera, but I will not mask them for the streamer. That'd be really hard to figure out. So you're at .NET 8.8 already? Awesome. All right, did you get my grades as well? Thindle explains to Mojo, no, it hides it on the screen, but there are buttons in the bottom that can show. The point is to not dox them when you double click config or JSON file, because at least I always forget to turn my screen view off. I have a magic screen for that. This one that I forget to go to. And so, yes, very much nice to have as the main thing. But there are buttons, so let me show those buttons real quick. So for any JSON or XML file, as I mentioned before, you'll get the nice masking. You can display only comments. So if I had an angle bracket, bang, dash, dash, here's a comment, then that wouldn't normally have shown, that would have been masked. And then if I click on display values and comments, then you can see the whole thing without masking. I'm on .NET 9 preview. And no, I didn't get them, but I got told people really loved yours. Ask Magnus and he'll send them to you, or do what I did and get tired of waiting and ask Jess. It's beautiful, now make it green. No colors. You color it yourself. Pointy is scary, round is not scary. The dictator. Can you do a fill color for an SVG with CSS or image? Absolutely can. So CSS, the fantastic thing about SVGs, only if you are using them on the page itself, is that you can target each of the elements as HTML elements, because SVG really is just a HTML element. So for example, I could target path here, and in my CSS, I could do fill colon, and then whatever color I want it to be, or stroke colon, whatever color I want it to be. Typically what I do is I will have a set number of colors that an SVG might take, and then I will have a class that will say, what color do you want to use? And then in my overall CSS, I will have color variables that are -- color 1, and then whatever color you want that to be, and that'll set all of the colors, you know, whether it has fill or stroke, it'll set the colors based off of that. But for now, these icons here are just using whatever the current font for color happens to be. Ooh, that was fun. Could do it with an OBS where are we? Not on the tubes yet. Could do it with an OBS integration and just blot out the whole thing, I guess. Yeah, true. Like if the file name that is the active file you send to OBS, that it's the file extension, it's a JSON, it's an XML, it's a .config, then block it out. Yeah, I guess that could maybe work. But then I have to be finite, and I'm not. So no docs is a reminder of like, yeah, this is your last chance. Or if you just want to show the schema. And I was thinking if you had monochrome SVG file. Hi, Peter. And yeah, the Copilot stream was interesting, but I've been working, so honestly, I wasn't paying 20% attention. Did Thindle have a Copilot stream? Is that what you're saying? Oh yeah, okay. I was getting to that. Okay. The Visual Studio Twitch stream. Okay, good. Yeah, I had it running, but then it crashed or something. So very weird. So it wasn't actually running. So there's an issue with doing what Thindle just said. The reason that I made my icon picker use Razor markup Razor components that just have SVG as the element inside is so that I could target all of my SVGs, all of my icons using CSS. Because when they render the actual SVG markup. When you use an image tag, and then you have, like, let's say this was trashcan.svg. Then this will actually render an image, not an SVG element. Therefore, you cannot use the normal things you would to target SVG elements. But you could, you know, do all of your normal picture color stuff. So filter, I don't know what it is. I don't know any of the stuff off the top of my head. Want to hear what really sucks? Having John follow you on Twitter, but you have a Findle and an Eric Johansson account, and he's following the wrong one. Yeah. I has one. No, I do have 2 Twitter accounts. Huh. I don't use either of them, but I have them. One day, maybe. I've solved it before by doing it reversed with a background color in SVG and the content transparent, and then setting background color on it. That's cool. Yeah, that's definitely doable. The one that I really want to learn how to do without paid services and without the free ones you need to upload all of your pictures, they do the processing on their end, is making a font family of your icons, kind of like the way you would do Open Iconic, for example, or actually that would just be an I, or Material, or Remix Icons, or any other, you know, icon library. So you just put a class, you get your icon, you can still color your font based off of 4-color because it's just a font at that point in time. But since we're using Blazor, I was like, why not? Let's have an icon picker where the way that you use it is you say, I want an icon. The icon type that I want is trash can. And then you can set size, color, all of that stuff. And what it does is it renders the contents of the class for this enum. So the class for this one is type of icon or type of trash can. And so it'll find that trash can, give me the component, render that component, which again will just turn into this SVG element. So that's the thing. We were getting somewhere. At least he's not following Thickdom. Dating the website to have the new version of Demilang. Awesome. Interpassing the color and or fill class as arguments to the icon component. Yeah, so like I have additional attributes. So yes. But one thing that is useful for people in general is if you do provide a C# way for them to do that instead of needing to provide class equals or style equals. Or, I mean, you get class here. Whoops. So this, like, even then, I would have something more like parameter, public string, additional CSS classes. And that would go here. Oops. So something like this. And the reason that I do this, by the way, is because I don't like having class name and then a random space. Otherwise, there would always be a space there. But that's just a me thing. So only if they've provided additional CSS class will I add a space and then the rest of the classes. Sure. That's just a me thing. But something that could also be helpful is having something like an actual color from system.drawing. And have this be for color or color 1 or whatever I'm going to map it to. And then have my, typically I would use a style attribute. And then I would override color 1 to be var if color 1 is not already defined, or if color 1 is already defined. Oh, right. No. I would have an if statement that says if they're providing a color, then use the color that they provided as RGBA or something. Yeah, and then I would just do the color as RGBA. String. Else null. Something like that. For any color, and then same thing for size. Size, you would say small, medium, large. So there would be something, as I mentioned before, parameter, public, icon size, and then we would have an icon size enum where each of the icon sizes maps to maybe a rems type of thing. Yeah, Thickdough doesn't have a Twitter account yet. Thindle sounds more like an Instagram account, to be honest. How often do you stream? I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So from about 2 hours and 15 minutes, or sorry, an hour and 45 minutes ago to 15 minutes from now. And then on Fridays, we do a thing called Community Day, in which I'm going to actually try, Community Day. I'm actually going to try setting up Guest Star and having that running. So anyway, I invite people to join in voice channel. Previously, it was just in Discord, but here I'll use Guest Star. And then I'll invite you to hop into Guest Star. I don't know how it's going to work. And then we'll have a verbal conversation on whatever programming or channel related topic that you want to talk about. But Monday, Wednesdays, I try to get stuff done in the stream project, which if you're interested in seeing the stream project, it is open source on GitHub. It is this financial management tracker. You know what? I'll just keep those. I'll keep those. That's fine. This is fine. Except I don't know off the top of my head. Color.value. Can't do 2A RGB. Oh, we can get the hex value. Can't we? No. We'll just use 2A RGB. Or not 2A RGB. We'll just write it out. I know what I'm doing. Okay, there. So now if we specify a color, it's going to override this color CSS variable, even though I haven't used it anywhere or defined it anywhere. But if I did, it would be in the icon Blazor Sass, which would get compiled into CSS and min.css, in which we would also have a dot icon for the container, and we would specify color 1 is, if color 1 is defined, then use color 1, otherwise some default color. So current color would be my default. So that kind of thing. And I would typically vendor prefix all of my classes if they're in an external shared library. That way there are no collisions with other namings, with other class names and variable names. So I would do something like man icon. Something. Anyway, point is, there's a lot more that we could do with that, but we're redesigning this anyway, so we're not too worried about it. Since I'm doing this, we may as well put this where it belongs, and that is in the code behind. Go. No, that is not the size of the icon. This is the additional CSS classes to apply to the container. Come on, Copilot. That is not the size of the icon. Oh my gosh. The color to use as the primary color for the icon. I'm missing a ton of stuff. So I thought Eric might have meant John Blow, and I got a bit impressed. Oh, I mean, we should still be impressed. John Galloway is a known figure in the Microsoft world. We need to be impressed by Thindle and let them know that we're impressed. We've solved it before by doing a reverse. We talked about that one. I like how Google Fonts gives you vectors and SVG and the everything files for the material icons, so you don't need to link in their entire font file. You just grab what you need. That's what I use Iconify for. Typically, you want to make sure that you pick icons from the same set, otherwise they start looking awkward together. But they give you the SVG for the icon. Yeah, they give you the SVG for the icon. I don't know what else to say. That's that. I read the how often do you stream. Can't you pass in the color and or as arguments into the icon component? Yes. Okay, so that's what I was explaining, that I would make an easy way for anyone consuming this component to be able to specify using C# the parameters that they want for their specific instance of the icon. But if you didn't want to use the parameters, then you just use the style attribute on your own, but you'd be overriding this style attribute. So better to use the parameters that I am exposing. In fact, I think that's how it is in my icon, in my component library. You have a component library, why aren't you just using the component library? Because I don't have icon in here yet. That's why. Is that a good reason? Yeah, we'll add the icon to this library soon-ish. Someday. We'll actually work on that too. Okay, anyway, here's our check mark. I'm trying to catch up in chat actually. Oops. John who, by the way? John Galloway. Super secret Blazor thing, right? Oh, what? Peter says, from the live coding Visual Studio stream, we were literally just watching. Oh, yeah. The one that you are at, maybe, you'll. Aris, are you a bot? Be honest. Night. Aris is sometimes. I'm no good with names. I understand. And I sympathize with you. No, that went way too fast. So Peter's like to Aris, okay, I believe you. Your comment was very sus and generic. And hello, my name is Boxy. He's 3 times a week. Oh yeah, okay, you were answering for me, thank you. And Fuel says, but there are several Johns. John Skeet, John Galloway, the John that you mentioned above that I don't really know who it is. So I thought Eric might have met John Blow. Oh, it was actually just after. And then there are 3 Great Scott. Great Scott. There's Community Day. Michael Scott. Wait. Try. You do fine, my friend. You do more than fine. I don't know. I'm so behind on comments. I don't know what these are related to anymore. Sometimes you even get things done on Friday. Oh, try to get stuff done. That's what it was. Sometimes. Good thing here is you can just replace the checkbox implementation and the icon component and you've got it everywhere. Yes, that's the whole point. So if I... Oh, why are you suddenly 17? Why are you suddenly 17 in the width realm? No, that's terrible. How am I gonna fix that? I'm not gonna fix it. It's just gonna look like that. Ugh. Ugh. Ugly. Okay. It's fixed. It's fixed-ish. We're going with that. 16 by 16. Duplicate. Move it over. 32 by... We're going to constrain. We're going to go 24 by 24. Duplicate. Move it over. 32... 30, 30. What's your number? 48. 48. 48. Zoom. Duplicate. Move it over. Duplicate. Extrude. 64. Okay. And now we have 3 check mark icons that we're going to call check marks eventually, that we're going to have as components. Each of these are going to be components, and they're going to be, they're going to have 2 properties, the icon itself, so trash can, check mark in this case, and the size. And in this case, it's going to be default, large, medium, large, the extra large. Why doesn't this actually look like 64 by 64 though? It is. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna figure that out. Having him follow you on Twitter is probably the weakest flex ever. Is it? Is it though? Wants to create a new parameter. Following you on Twitter. I'm not seeing you flexing that. Pure Snapple is following me on Twitter. Very exclusive. Much flex. Check it out. There you go. Scott Pilgrim. He's still naming off the Great Scott. I don't see you following me. How will I be able to flex? Unfair. Oh my gosh, this looks awful now. Agreed. Agreed. Hi, Dugazov. Thank you for being here. Much love to you. Mod love. Mod love all the way. And I flex that you follow me on Twitter. John Galloway is following me. Flexes. Irish smug. I don't know what that one's called. Anyway, smug face. Anyway, that was fun. All right, so I made 2 icons. That's it. That's all I made this whole time. We talked about the cards and the struggle that I have with creating a new theme. So if I have a new theme, then creating a new set of components for my cards is going to be a pain because of how many different styles there are for my cards. And gosh, there has to be an easier way to break it up so that I can change the font color, border, and background color by changing my card theme. There's got to be a way. Okay, but anyway, we'll figure that out, and then I create an icon. A few icons. So we'll create components out of those. And I think once we're done with the icons themselves, we are going to go to doing the actual putting the UI together in a real for real clean designed way that doesn't look super terrible. Because right now it doesn't look horrible. It's just not, I'm starting to not like it. So I want to do this the right way. And that's what we have all of this for. Okay, but until the next time, I am going to go to a disk screen and stay on it from now until we meet again. So I'll turn towards the camera, center myself somehow, maybe lean a little bit so that I don't feel so angled. My camera is on a weird stand and it's all angled and stuff. I can't fix it. Whatever. Who cares? Now I'm short. All right. So anyway, I'll be back again on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Cool. Which is now UTC -7. UTC minus... Or no. Yes. Yes, it is. What? Which one of you is... text for that? Join again. Join again. Okay, so we are currently UTC -7 here in the US in Mountain Time, and that is when I will be back again for streaming. We're going to raid on over 2 or 3 Dragon Spirit Games, who we have not raided for a little bit. Dragon Spirit Games is a game developer. He's working on a game called Gaia. Actually, I'm not exactly sure what he's working on right now. That doesn't look like Gaia, but typically he works on a game called Gaia, and that it's a game about his daughter, or a game he is making about his daughter where she meets Gaia, the actual Gaia. His daughter's name is Gaia, but she has to save the world, clean stuff up, fix stuff, make things better. But anyway, I'll be back again on Wednesday. I'll post this video to the YouTubes no sooner than 24 hours after I end the video, so if you are interested in going back and watching the previous videos, Dukasoft has kindly posted my YouTube channel. I post all of my videos there. And feel free to hop on into our Discord, hang out with our community if you're not already there. We have people asking questions, answering questions, and just having general good conversations. All right. That is going to be it for me for the today. Back to work with me.